So, like I said, um, Spanish is not the only language I have dabbled in. I have also spent 4 semesters learning Japanese. Now, why learn Japanese? Like, nobody, pretty much nobody speaks it up in Wisconsin. So, and that's true, which is why I'm kind of on a hiatus right now with that particular language. But anyway, I started because I kind of had this little romantic thing with someone back in high school, and she spoke fluent Japanese. She taught herself entirely through like internet resources, and she watched anime. And I don't know how, but that somehow made her become fluent. She lives down in Key West, so I don't think there are many Japanese people down there. So I consider it like a fluke. But I basically had to do something similar for the first 2 semesters. I was learning Japanese up at college because I couldn't fit the courses into my schedule. Because language classes tend to stagger in college. Like, you can only take semesters 1 and 3 in the fall or 2 and 4 in the spring. So I was always just like at the wrong end of that. So I was like, I'm not waiting. I'm going to catch up. So I took the books that the course provided for the students, and we have textbook rental, so I could just go check them out for free. Basically, what I did was I learned the whole first 2 semesters on my own. At the time, I was dating a Japanese foreign exchange student, so she was able to check some of my work. I'm going to get into that idea a little bit more in the check video, but anyway, I really liked my Japanese classes once I got in, which was like 3rd semester, because the teacher was really like all about the communicative approach. And even though I like learning the grammar and everything on my own and using that as like a foundation and everything, like I said in the last video, she actually helped me with the other end of it, which I couldn't have gotten out in the community because I know no Japanese people. I just don't. So being able to converse with other classmates as part of the lesson was really, really useful. I never quite reached like kind of a comfortable level of fluency like I have in Spanish right now, but I could talk about things. I mean, I just had to dig them up from my memory, and I was able to remember how to say various things in Japanese. What I did notice though is that like I was really well prepared in the reading and writing area of Japanese by the time I got in there, because I had my own motivation and my own pace for learning it when I was doing the first 2 semesters of material. Everyone else seemed to still be struggling because they were relying entirely on this teacher's ability to give it to them. And I mean, that's the point where I realized like I must be really good at this, like on my own, or I just might have an independent learning style. So I guess one thing to take away from this would be that you got to find your own learning style. You got to figure out you got to know how you learn, because even if you don't want to study independently, it just goes a long way. Because if you know that you learn best by listening to material and like you remember it better that way, you want to seek out audio materials in order to learn a language. If you do better by writing it down, learning the grammar, etc., then that's what you want to do. You got to figure out what works for you, because that is what's going to help you learn the fastest. And you're going to feel a lot better doing it because you're not going to be doing stuff you don't want to do or that doesn't help you. Also, I know this is a Spanish channel, but if you guys ever wanted to learn Japanese, I'd say I recommend that you decide what part of Japanese you want to learn, because there are 2 very different parts. Like, the writing system is totally different from the speaking, just because the writing system is made up of a bunch of pictographs. There's 3 alphabets. You got 1 phonetic alphabet that for Japanese words, 1 phonetic alphabet for foreign words, so like American words might fall into that category. Each of those has 48 characters that you want to learn in order to be able to piece together the other combinations of those characters. And then you got the 3rd alphabet, which is kanji, and that's just like borrowed from Chinese characters. Really complicated to write. So if you like rote memorizing, you like drawing cool figures, I was really into it, then go for that. Otherwise, I'd recommend picking up some sort of like conversational guide, learning how to say phrases, and then just go from there. But in my opinion, it's really helpful when you learn a language if you can read and write as well as speak and listen. It's just good to be a holistic speaker of a language. But anyway, I recommend that you guys comment below, talk about your learning styles, what you think works best for you when you're learning a language, what you might want from me when I'm teaching you Spanish later on in the coming videos, anything that involves your own personal preferences when you're learning a language. And I'll see you in the next video.